Hi, this is Jermaine Kibido and welcome to pianoplaying.blogspot.com. It is good to be back, and today we're going to look at a piano tutorial. Oh Holy Night is the song that we're going to look at, and it's going to be in the key of A. So let's look at the number system and the scale. A is your 1, B is your 2, C sharp is your 3, D is your 4, E is your 5, F sharp is your 6, G sharp is your 7, and then we're back at A, which is the 1, just an octave higher. So the first part of the song is Oh Holy Night, the stars are brightly shining. Okay, so let's look at that. The first chord is over the 1, which has an A bass. So for the left hand you play A and E. For the right hand you play A and C sharp. That is just to cover O, right? And then Holy is C sharp and D as melody notes, and then you play the next chord. Okay, so this is still over the 1. So the left hand still stays at A and E, and the right hand then changes to G, A sharp, C sharp, and E, right? So that is to cover the night. And then the stars, we move over to the 4, which is a D bass. Okay, so before we play this chord, just add that E as a melody note to cover the for the stars, right? So the stars. So over that 4 in my left hand I played D, E and F sharp, and then for the right hand it changed to A, D and F sharp, right? So the stars, and then we move to the 5 for our bright. Okay, and then we play this chord, and that 5 is with an E bass. So for the left hand it is D and G sharp that you can play, and then for the right hand you can change it to C sharp and F sharp. Okay, so that is the stars are bright over the 5, and then a single melody note G sharp for the Lee part of brightly. So brightly, and then we go back to the 1 signing. Okay, so that we go back to A, which is your 1 chord. So for the left hand it is A and E. The right hand it is A and B together with the thumb, and then C sharp, E and A. And then you can also do this. This is something I did in the song. This is very common among gospel musicians. So let's look at that movement. The left hand plays G, F sharp, D, E. Okay, and the right hand plays E, D, B, C sharp. So if you play that together, see, like that. Okay, so let's just review the first part. So it is the 1 for O, Holy Night. You remain on the 1, and then we go to the 4, the stars, and then the 5 are brightly shining, and then that last movement. Okay, so let's look at the next part. Okay, so the next part continues from signing after that movement, and then we're supposed to go to the 6 for it is the night, right? But let me just play the second part. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Okay, so that is the second part that we will look at. Okay, so let's look at that. We're supposed to go to the 6, right? For it is the night. But remember, before you can play a 6 chord, you can always add a 3 passing, which is that C sharp bass. Now let's look at that chord. Now before I played the chord on the 3, I just added this C sharp melody note, and then I played the next chord. Okay, so let's look at that. C sharp, and then we play that 3 chords. So for the left hand, which is over the C sharp, is C sharp, F, and B. For the right hand, it is D, G, and B. And then that is for it is the night, okay, which goes to the 6, which is an F sharp bass. But before you play the 6 chord, you can also add a single melody note, which is G sharp, and then play the chord. Okay, so let's just look at that chord. In the left hand, I played E, G sharp, A, and C sharp. In the right hand, it is E and A, right? Then we can go to the 2 for Of Our Dear Saviour's Birth. Okay, so that 2 would be the B bass, but then you do this melody of our and then chord. Okay, so let's look at that. So it is just C sharp, D, and then we go to the B on the 2 chord. Okay, so on the left hand I play D, E, F sharp, A, and C sharp. On the right hand I play E, A, C sharp, and E, right? Of Our Dear, and then the next chord goes to the 5 for Savior. Okay, now let's leave that F sharp out there. Okay, so that's over the E bass. We're going to the 5. So for the left hand I play D, G sharp, and C sharp. For the right hand I play F, G sharp, and C sharp. That's all I play there. Okay, and then you go back to the 1 for birth. Before we do that, you can just add a B melody, and then you get back to the 1. Okay, so let's look at the 1 chord now. You know what? I think that I went there, yeah, and not the other one. So on the 1, the left hand is A and E. The right hand is the same chord as previously. It is A and B, and then it's C sharp, E, and A. Okay, so let's just review that part, the second part. It is the night, to the 6, and then to the 2 with melody of our dear, that's the 2, and then the 5, Savior, and then we go back to the 1, birth. Okay, and then before we went back to the next part, I did this. Okay, and then we went to go to Long Lay the World. Okay, so let's look at that little movement. That goes to the flat 6 or C, the sharp 5, depending on the way you look at it. But because I went down, I'll look at it as a flat 6, which is an F bass. Alright, so in the left hand I played F, G, and A. In the right hand I played C, F, and A. Okay, so you play And then I did this for the right hand before I went to the next chord. And then I played the flat 7. Okay, so let's just look at that. So the other two chords before we go to the flat 7 is, okay, in the right hand. So it is D, G, and B. That's the first chord. The second chord is E, G, and C. E, G, and C. Okay, and then we connect to this chord. Okay, so that's the flat 7, which is the G bass. So for the left hand you can play D, F sharp, G, and B. In the right hand you play D, G, and B. Okay, and then you go back to the 1. Now you can see this time around we play the 1 an octave higher. We doubled the chord in both hands. Okay, so over that 1 now it becomes E, G sharp, A, and C sharp. For the right hand it becomes E, A, and C sharp. Okay, so let's just review that last little part. To get to the next part. Okay, so yeah, let's look at the next part. Okay, so we go to long lay the world in sin and error pining. Okay, so it is basically the same 1, 1 to the 4, 5, 1 for long lay the world in sin and error pining. Okay, so let's look at that. This is after that movement, by the way. Okay, so we've already covered this chord. Then you play the melody again, long, C sharp, D, and then chord over that 1 star. Okay, so that is still the A bass. So for the left hand you play G, A sharp, C sharp, and E. Right hand you play G, A sharp, C sharp, and E, right? And then you go to the 4, which is D bass, so in sin, right? So for the left hand you play D, E, F sharp, A, and C sharp. The right hand you play A, D, and F sharp. But you can add the melody note before you play the chord, the E melody note, in sin. Okay, and then we have to go to the 5 again. We play that same chord that we played here, but because our melody is on top, this is where you play that chord now. Okay, so let's look at that. Over the E bass, left hand is D, G sharp, C sharp. We've already covered this. And right hand is C sharp and F sharp. And then again pining, G sharp, and then chord to get back to the 1. So let's look at the chord now. The one for the left hand is E, G sharp, A, and C sharp. Right hand is A, B, C sharp, E, and A. Okay, so let's look at the next part of the song. Okay, so we were sitting on this chord for pining, error pining, and then we go to the 7 till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. Okay, so let's look at that. So now we go to the 7 after that error pining. So the 7 is actually the G sharp bass. So for the left hand you play F sharp, A, C and D sharp. For the right hand you play F sharp, A, C and D sharp. You're actually doubling the same chord. And that is to cover till he. But before you play this chord over the 7, add the melody E and then you play that chord to cover that till he. Okay? And then we go to the 3. Till he. Okay? So that 3 is actually the C sharp bass. So let's look at the left hand. It is E, F sharp, G sharp, B and D sharp. The right hand is B, E and G sharp. Right? Till he appeared. And then you play and the, which is E, F sharp, and then you go back to the 3, to the 7, sorry. Okay, so that G sharp bass, you will have to play this for the left hand is F sharp, A sharp, B and D sharp, and then for the right hand it is B, D sharp and G sharp, right? But before you play this chord, you can add the melody notes E, F sharp, and then you play that chord. Another thing that you can do is add a grace note from C sharp to D sharp. Okay, so then it will sound like this. And the soul over that 7, and then we go back to the 3. Okay, so over that C sharp bass, the left hand can play F, B and D. The right hand can play C sharp, E and A, right? But slide that note there from the D sharp to the E, right? And then you play this chord on the right hand only, all over that 3. So the right hand then changes from that to this. It is B and E and G sharp, and then to the 6, okay, which is an F sharp bass. So let's look at that left hand. The left hand is then E, G sharp, A and C sharp. Remember, I'm just twisting my fingers slightly like that so that you can look at the chord from the overhead shot. Then the right hand is E, A and C sharp, right? And then we do this. Okay, that is to get to the 2, and that 2 is just as a passing chord to get to the 5, which is our next section. Okay, so let's look at that movement. We were sitting here on that 6, and then we need to go to the 2, which is B bass. But before you go to the 2, do this chromatic movement down. G sharp and B, A and A, G and A sharp, and F sharp and A, and then you play this chord over that B bass. So for the left hand you can play D sharp, G sharp, A and C sharp. For the right hand you play F and G sharp, and then once you play the chord, then you can play a C sharp note. Okay, so let me like that. That's how you'll play that move. Okay, So let's look at that. Let's review the whole section. Till he appeared, and the soul felt its worth. To that 2 bass. Okay.